How's it going, guys? My name's Crabtree, doing a deck profile for TGG Gaming here. I'm going to be doing Dark Magician today, kind of showing you a little bit of the spice deck that we're running here. So starting off with, you run obviously 3 copies of Dark Magician. This is your vanilla monster. Really, he's kind of the brick in the deck. If you open up with him, he's not the absolute best. So as you can see, we're running a Shutdown promo though, so at least when we break with him, it's pretty. We're 3 of him. We then run, of course, 3 copies of Magician's Souls. This card is a must-have in the deck. You cannot play Dark Magicians without running 3 of these cards. Virtually what they do is it's a reveal card. You can reveal it from hand. You pay cost to throw a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl into the graveyard. You can then either special summon this card, or you can send it to the grave and special summon Dark Magician. If you special summon this card, you also get the secondary effect, which allows you to pitch up to 2 spell traps from your hand or graveyard, or from hand or field, and it allows you to draw that number of cards up to 2. Then we play the next best support in the deck, that's going to be Magician's Rod. This card is absolutely crucial as well. Good thing as well, this isn't $100 like the Soul. It's fairly cheap. This is used primarily to you just normal summon it, and it allows you to search for a Dark Magician spell or trap card and add it to your hand. So it's really good for getting souls to the hand if you don't, or souls and or Eternal Souls and or circles to the hand if you don't already have it. Otherwise, you can use it to find the fusion card in the deck as well, which is really helpful. I'll talk about that later. Next, we run 2 Radiant, the multidimensional kaiju. We run it because it's a level 7, and because it's a dark, it's a really good target for getting rid of, or it's really good for getting rid of problematic monsters on the other side of the field. Also, because it's a dark, it's a great use for Super Poly, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. And then lastly, for the monsters, we run 2 copies of Joel and Lockbird. This is not mandatory. You can sub this out with some more spell or trap cards. I just run 2 Joel because at my regionals here, a lot of people play Elemental Heroes, and a lot of people like Dinosaurs, stuff like that. So a lot of search engine, a lot of drawing. So this is a really good card for just shitting on your opponent. If you don't know what it does, it's just during either player's turn, if my opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, you can just pitch this to the grave, and that's the last time that they can add a card to their hand for that turn. So a very good tech card for getting for stopping combos like that. Moving on to the spells, we run, of course, 3 copies of Dark Magical Circle. This is the bread and butter of the deck. You basically activate this card, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. If it's a Dark Magician or a spell or trap card that specifically lists Dark Magician in the test, you can add it to your hand. Additionally, when you special, normal, whatever summon a Dark Magician, once per turn, during either player's turn, you can banish 1 card on the field of your opponent's side. Next, we run a little bit of fusion elements. We run, obviously, the Secret of the Dark Magic, really good fusion card. It allows for you to basically get into your extra deck for the Dark Magicians. You can search this off of Rod. You can also get it off of Soul Servant. It's a very good card, and it allows for you to get without having to use specifically the necessary materials. You can fusion from your hand or from the field. Just a really good card for getting into your fusion summons. We also run, like I mentioned, the 3 copies of Soul Servant. This is probably, right after Circle, probably the best spell card to run in the deck. It's a must-need at 3. Virtually what you do with it is you activate it. You can add 1 card to the top of your deck that specifically lists Dark Magician in the text. So this is a card that can get you pretty much any spell or trap that lists Dark Magician, or even putting a monster top deck. So this card can very well get you the Magician's Souls monster to the top of the deck. And then its secondary effect is if you have a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl on the field or graveyard, or both of them, you can banish this card and draw cards up to the number of Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, so you can draw a max of 2 off this card. I think it's actually Palladium as well, but I don't think anyone plays Palladium. So virtually, I only play Dark Magician, so it's only a 1 of this card, but it's still good just to pitch this and get a free draw. So it's really good for add 1. We also play 3 copies of 3 copies of Super Poly. This card allows, obviously everyone knows what Super Poly does, but this card allows for you to fusion summon with cards on either side of the field. Really good to use. A combo with this is using Radiant, the Multi-Magician Kaiju, to tribute summoning a monster, have a dark on their side of the field, and then you can fusion or Super Poly your dark monster and that Kaiju, or if they have 2 dark monsters, you can get out Starving Venom pretty easily. Plus, there's a lot of other fusion monsters that I play in the extra deck that I'll go over, but very, very good card, a very annoying card to deal with for sure. Then, of course, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Just gets you the draw 2, banish 1 dark monster, pretty self-explanatory. You run pretty much, you run all dark monsters for the most part, except for that draw and lock bird, so you have plenty of targets off that. Obviously, you just don't want to banish Dark Magician because that stops the engine. And then we run a draw engine for 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods and 1 copy of Metal Flows Fusion. This just allows for us to pitch Metal Flows to the grave using Foolish Burial Goods, and then using the effect to shuffle back in to draw 1. So it's basically upstart without having to give your opponent extra 1,000 life points. Now on to the traps. We run 1 copy of Magician Navigation. You never want to use this card for its intended purpose of special summoning a Dark Magician from the hand of the graveyard. This is just fodder. You want to use this off of Magician's Souls to pitch to the graveyard to summon, or to draw a card, or you want to use Foolish Burial Goods to get to this graveyard. You want the negate effect off of Magician Navigation. So you get this to the graveyard, and as long as you control Dark Magician, you can banish this card, and you can negate 1 spell or trap on the field for that turn. So it's just a free negate, really good card to have for that. If you see an open hand, not the best. We run 2 copies of Eternal Souls. This is probably the most important engine card in the deck in terms of constant summons. Basically, you allow for, when you flip this over, the first effect is you can special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard, and then if you add, or you can add 1 Dark Magic attack with 1,000 Knives from your deck to your hand. Secondary effect's not too amazing, but the effect of this is you can summon a Dark Magician on either player's turn. So this is basically a free summon per turn, and then if you have a circle on the board, that's basically a free banish every turn. So those two cards, and consider it very, very good combo. You're always getting a summon. You're always getting Dark Magician back to the field. That allows you to go into your Link monsters fairly easily. Additionally, what this card does that's really amazing is that it protects your Dark Magicians on the field. So any card that's named as Dark Magician on the field in the monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. So, targeting anything like that, your Dark Magicians are completely immune as long as it's on the field with it. The only downside is if this card is destroyed, then it blows up your entire field, so it doesn't matter what you have on the field, all your monsters are destroyed if that's blown up, so you want to try to protect that at all costs. Next, we run 2 copies of Summon Limit. It's another card that's optional. You can obviously throw in your own tech that you'd like, but I just like the idea of the Summon Limit. You don't do a whole bunch of summoning, and if you do, it's pretty broken up between you and your opponent's turn. I just like running 2 of these because it'll slow down a lot of these decks that like to spam the board while not really slowing down your deck at all. It's just a really good deck card. Limits you to 2 summons per turn, so very nice in that aspect. I also run 2 Solemn Judgment and 2 Solemn Strike. That's 4 cards there that allows you to basically negate the summons of monsters. Very good running against a lot of the decks in the meta now, just keeping them from getting out their big boys and their beaters and all the effect monsters, just keeping them in place. This is, you could do possibly 3 Judgment or 3 Strike, but I think this is just a nice little balance between the 2. But definitely must need in the deck. It just slows down your opponent quite a bit. Also, I run a Skill Drain. This card, since Dark Magician is the main monster that we're constantly getting back off of souls and whatnot, this card is extremely good. You pay 1,000 life points, and then you just, as long as this card remains on the field, all monsters' effects are negated. This is just a really good card to keep your opponents a little bit in check, slow them down a bit. It doesn't really affect you. You're getting your Dark Magicians. You're spamming the board with Dark Magicians. You got your 2,500 beater. So if you can't get your skills off, it's not a big. It doesn't hinder you as much as it would hinder a lot of the other players in the meta. And then finally, I run 2 copies of Get Out. This is a really good card for just surprise factor, but also it really kind of stops your opponent from playing the game. This is a card that you set on hopefully turn 1, or you can get it off of the Dark Magicians. But basically, you just set this, and when your opponent gets 2 monsters on the board from the extra deck, flip this over, and it shuffles those monsters back into the deck. It doesn't destroy them, so it gets around a lot of the effects that, when this monster is destroyed, blah, 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 it doesn't destroy the monster, it just simply shuffles them back. They still obviously pay the materials, and it just kind of puts them back a bit. Going into the extra deck now, we play 1 copy of number 11 Big Eye. You don't really go into this card too much. It's more of a situational card. Just 2 level 7s. You run, Dark Magicians and the Kaiju, so you can get that up fairly easily. And then once per turn, you can just attach an XYZ material from the card and then take control of 1 monster they control. But you can't attack the same turn. It's 2,600 attack. It's a dark, so it's actually a target for Super Poly as well. But overall, just very situational. We then go into the Link monsters. So we play, of course, 1 copy of Link Spider, 1 copy of Link Karibo, 1 copy of each of the Nightmares, with that being Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus. All of these are fairly situational. But then the big hitter boys, we then play 1 copy of Mecha Knight Crusader Avermax, 1 Protoplant Verte Anaconda, and then 1 IP Masquerena. These are the 3 cards that I go into the most. Namely, Protoplant Verte Anaconda, just for the simple fact that you can pay 2,000 life points and then send a polymerization or a fusion card to the graveyard, and then its effect becomes that effect of it. So you can virtually make this into a Super Poly without having to pay cost. And then when the Dragoon of Red Eyes comes out in a few months here, this is going to be an amazing card to play, just so that you can get the Red Eyes fusion card to the graveyard and then get out your Dragoon basically turn 1, so that's going to be very, very good. And then obviously IP Masquerena and Mecha Knight Crusader Avermax, pretty self-explanatory. Just a really good Link 2 here, allows you to, during your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, basically link summon using this card or another material, so you can go into Avermax fairly easily. And obviously Avermax is just a ridiculously good card to run. When it's link summon this card, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and whenever it makes an attack, it has to focus this card. It's a 3,000 beater, so extremely good card to have. And then all these, of course, are situational, but that's the link monsters. And then now we go into the fusion cards. This deck plays a lot of fusion. So obviously the first one we play would be Starting Venom. 2 dark monsters, fairly easy to make. We run all darks for the most part. Also, forgot to mention, but with the Protoplant Verte Anaconda, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, and that target becomes dark. So virtually, you're being able to make your Starting Venom using your monsters or their monsters. You get that 1 free dark if they're running dark in the deck. It's pretty easy just to use their field to make your stuff. Starting Venom, just a really good card to have in the deck. You're also going to run World Trail and a Scar Dragon. I don't go into this as much, but it's just a good Dragon Fusion effect monster. It's 3 link monsters, a little bit harder to make, but definitely doable. We run, of course, the Salamangreat Violet Chimera. Again, I don't go into this too much. It needs a Salamangreat monster, so it's more situation when you're facing Salamangreat, so you can, use the Super Poly using their side of the field just to get it out and have some good effects. You then obviously play the Dark Magicians. You want to go in this card as much as possible. This is just a really good card. It's 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl and a Spellcaster monster, so you can make it off of the Fusion or the Super Poly fairly easily. Then once per turn, when if a spell trap card is activated, you can draw a card, and if that card is a spell trap card, you can set it, and if it's a quick play spell trap or quick play trap or spell or a trap card, you can activate it that same turn. Additionally, if it's destroyed, you can summon one Dark Magician and one Dark Magician you from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So virtually you're getting that one free draw, that one activation, and then when it's blown up, you get those free summons, and then you can pop off with Circle and get free banish. So just a really good card there. And then I play a little bit more of the Prayer Plant cards. I play Prayer Plant, Dracospelia. This card is one fusion monster plus one dark monster. Once per turn for a quick effect, so this is immediate when it comes out or whenever you'd like. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, put a counter on it, and then its level becomes, if its level is 2 or higher, it becomes level 1, and as long as it has a permanent counter on it, you can negate the activation of the effects from the monster. So just really good negates. You can drop it down to level 1, so you can do a lot with it. But this is really good. The level 1 effect is really good when you go into the Predator Plant Chimera Philesia. So basically, you would want to get this out first. You would hit their big monster with a Predator counter to drop it down to 1, level 1, negate its effects, and then you would want to go into Predator Plant Chimera Philesia. So basically, what this is one Predator Plant monster and one Dark monster. So you can use this and a Dark monster to get it out. But the reason you run this after it is once per turn, you can banish a monster that is the same level or lower as this, and this is a level 7. So you drop that to a level 1, it then automatically becomes lower than this. You use this effect to banish that monster. And then another really good effect of this is when this is destroyed, you are then able to add a polymerization or fusion card to your hand on your next standby phase. So get this out, you get to level 1, you banish it with this card. This is destroyed by whatever card effects, your opponent destroys it, whatever, etc. You get another polymerization, you can just start over. It's a wonderful card. But that wraps it up for the deck. Let's go into the side deck. The side deck is fairly self-explanatory. You play a lot of the same stuff. We obviously play 3 copies of Evenly Matched. This just allows you to, at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, they have to banish cards until they have the same amount of cards that you have on your field. So if you just don't play any cards and play this, you have to go all the way down to 1 card. So they can have a whole board set up, and then you can just completely nuke their board. Additionally, they're banished face down, so they can't do anything with them afterwards. We then play the 3rd copy of Joel and Lockbird. I keep it third just in case I come against an appointment that I just need an extra copy to be able to stop their plays a little bit faster. This is just a wonderful card to play. We played 2 copies of TGG Crow. You could also play Call by the Grave. I just think this is a little bit better because you can, it's a quick effect and you can just banish the card right away and just get rid of it and not have to worry about it and wait until your turn to activate it or having to set it. 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Just allows you to keep your opponent from searching or special summoning. Just a really good card in general. I play this 2 Fantastical Dragon Phantasmes. If I'm facing an opponent where Kaijuing just isn't an option, it's just not doing a lot for me. Kaijus are just kind of bricking in my hand. Fantastical Dragon Phantasmes is really good because then you can special summon when they link summon a monster. It's a level 7, it's a dark type, it's a dragon, so you can very easily get into a lot of your fusion summon monsters or your overlay level 7s. Just a really, really good monster for that. Also, it's another option for for Allure of Darkness. Just a good card to have. You can obviously play what you like out of that. I also play 2 Waking the Dragons. This card for just decks that are heavy back row clears. You set that up, they pop your back row, etc. And then you get a free special summon from your deck or extra deck. Just a really good card to play for a lot of those heavy clears. And then finally 3 copies of Nibiru, obviously. And then the current meta, there's a lot of spamming, a lot of 5 to 6, 7, 8 summons in a turn, and Nibiru is just really good for shutting down. If you don't have a Joel and Lockbird in the hand, if they're getting around it somehow, they're just having special summon after special summon. This is just a good card to kind of wipe their field, make them reset, gives them obviously a big beater in terms of what you hit exactly, but using your souls and navigation, circle, etc. Getting the Dark Magicians on the field any way you can. You get that free banish from the circle. You can take care of that token fairly quickly. But yeah, that'll do it for today, guys. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.